This week on Across the Arrowverse, Flash was fully crossed over, the Legends were partly crossed over, Arrow had to stroke death, and Supergirl was a bit player in her own show. Hi everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm your host Matthew Vose, and I'm joined by Catherine Kay.
Hi guys.
This week we're discussing the episodes Supergirl, Damage, The Flash, Girls' Night Out, The Legends of Tomorrow, Return of the Mac, and Arrow, Deathstroke Returns. So let's kick off with Flash, which I think had probably strongest episode of the week again.
Yeah, I think so. Fun. Fun.
Yes, a very definite split along gender lines for a plot A, plot B this week, both of which had actual stuff going on in them. There was a point where I was expecting the boys to just be a bit silly, and the girls would have a proper, interesting story. But they did develop it with the introduction of Cecile's daughter into the boys' story.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I thought that was interesting. Little heavy-handed at times, but what I did think it helped us lead to is a nice development of Joe and Cecile and that whole relationship and that sort of evolving new family structure, which I quite enjoyed.
Yes, definitely agree. It'd be interesting to see if anything comes of both her writing the book and doing these and her becoming more of a part. So,
yeah, I quite like her as a character. I mean, I don't mean to be dismissive of the storyline with her writing this book, and you know, all very laudable and that. But yeah, that's one of the things I meant by being a little heavy-handed.
Yeah.
You know, I've got every support for feminism. I'm a very strong feminist myself, but I don't necessarily need it to be smashed in my face with a big hammer.
No, but this is a show that's going out to people who don't read or study feminist texts in the same way we do.
Possibly,
good,
yes.
Good to have the messages in there, I think.
Agreed.
I will always support it. It reminds me of Supergirl Season 1, that was a little Feminist 101, but then started building on the stuff it was discussing week on week. So,
yeah.
Okay. A big story this week is the crossover, Felicity turning up, because
Hooray!
Iris has no friends.
Yeah, Iris really doesn't have any friends, does she? I know no one outside of my immediate superhero group.
Yeah, one of whom I rarely see. And I can't remember that we've ever had a Felicity-Iris buddy moment in a previous episode. She and Caitlin obviously do. She and Cecile obviously do. She's going to be her stepmom.
Although she and Caitlin, I kind of got the impression that they hadn't really previously. They just were like work colleagues, so she's desperately inviting her work colleague along to her hen do.
And then to become her maid of honour. Like 4 weeks before the wedding. We're more sorted than that, you know.
Significantly so.
Lots of pop culture references this week. Thing about Killer Frost being like the Incredible Hulk, a reference to 7 Doctor Who's later. A reference to Titanic.
Yes, I really enjoyed the reference to Titanic, but maybe that's just hit exactly the right era for me.
But lots of within the show references. So we had a brought up again, This House is Bitchin'. So we're tracking that.
Where is that going?
Yeah.
It's got to be going somewhere.
Hopefully. We had lots of things about Killer Frost, and this is the battle for the soul of Caitlin and Killer Frost, which is quite nice. I'm really hoping she becomes not necessarily good as Killer Frost, but sort of Catwoman, Snart-esque.
Yeah,
shades of grey.
Neutral.
Yeah.
A neutral. Like a good ultimate outcome, but questionable methods of getting there type character.
Yeah. I don't want it to be she has these powers and they're now useful all the time.
Yeah. No, I did enjoy that. I mean, and I really, really enjoyed what was she called? Oh, Amunet. I was about to call her Magneto, but no.
So the other big appearance is Katie Sackhoff as Amunet, best known from Battlestar Galactica.
No, I loved her, and I loved the fact that she was unapologetically, rampantly evil.
Yes,
So much fun. So much fun.
We've had a couple of weeks of bad guys or plots that aren't necessarily bad guys. The Lucky Lady and Ralph Dibney. So it was nice to have someone who, they're quite villainous and they're quite fun. She's clearly relishing the accent.
Yeah.
And this sort of Doctor Who Missy meets Magneto, that kind of thing.
Maybe meets Harley Quinn a bit as well.
Yeah.
Little put that into the melting pot.
I liked her Caitlin's throwaway line of "I'm bored." Very evil Willow. Always fun to see a little Buffy reference in there.
Okay.
But in general, there was just a lot of fun going on. The boys' story with the designated bachelor and the designated superhero and the bachelor elixir. I liked them. The moments of HR with his hand sanitizer and calling Dibney Disney.
I love Harry Wells in this. I really do. I think the way that we've got the slightly snarky Harry Wells of the series that he first came in, but him without being burdened by the stress and the guilt of his daughter having been kidnapped by Zoom.
Yeah.
It's allowing this more still snarky but fun side of his character come out. Really enjoying it.
Nice. We also had someone who I assume is going to be called Snake Eye or Snake Eyes. With the big tentacle coming out of his eye.
I think they did call him Snake Eye at some point.
I think it was a throwaway line. I don't know if that's going to be his actual name or not, but it feels relevant.
Yeah, that was repulsive. It was absolutely minky.
Really good graphics. Like, that was quite quality. I couldn't tell whether he was a bus meta or not. It was, I think, implied not.
I thought not as well. I thought he was just part of the Amionet bad gang. At which point, I also thought, I'm a little bit disturbed by this idea of a meta black market that hasn't been like sort of meta slave trading. I'm like, maybe that's a way that the story could go some episodes rather than just constantly capturing metas and putting them all in their own sort of Flash Guantanamo within Star Labs, which itself is starting to disturb me a little bit.
So, perhaps we could have a sequence of dismantling the meta black market. So the Weeper guy, the drug dude, was he a bus meta?
I think he must have been.
Right.
Except some of the phrasing of Devereaux's comments at him, or DeVoe. No.
Oh yes, he came at him at the end, didn't he?
Yes, because he was like, I didn't go to all this effort of making you. I don't know whether that was... I don't know, it's almost implied to me something more than the bus.
Right.
Because I don't know whether DeVoe had a lot of... I mean, how much of DeVoe's influence was there in the fact that there happened to be a bus at the time that Barry came out of the Speed Force?
Oh, I think 100%.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think there is something, not necessarily that the bus was at that place in time, but that Barry came out of the Speed Force at that place in time.
Yeah. So
somewhere there's maybe there's going to be a thing where we find out he delayed the bus to make sure he got there at that point or something. That's how I've been reading it.
Fair enough.
Or it's come across at least. So a little bit of the overarching plot there, but more than anything, this was a one-off. And I am totally here if the crossovers they do are the ladies of the DCTV, the Arrowverse, travel around and help support each other and have their own adventures and just support each other. If that's the way it now goes, if we see Killer Frost going to the Legends to help out Sarah take command, if we see people going over to help Black Siren, and the guys just get on with their thing, I'll take that. I'll enjoy it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I would also just expand that to, in general, people basically showing that, hey, we've got something in common, like the superhero stuff, that most other people haven't. We're probably going to talk and be friends and come visit sometimes. But that's all cool.
When they've done the men crossovers, it's either a little patronising or it has to be all who's the alpha, who's in charge here, who takes point, and all this sort of thing. There was a photo on Twitter in the week of the crossover filming, which was basically everyone from all four shows who is going to be in these crossovers, so a big cast. And Iris is stood off to one side, just with a big beaming grin on her face.
Oh,
Or she's to the
okay.
side of the group, rather. Everyone else is stood there, like, quite stern, like, oh, serious. Iris is like, yeah, this is fun. I'm not a superhero. I don't really do anything. Great.
I really liked Iris this episode.
Yeah?
She I've kind of turned 180 degrees on Iris. I thought she showed some really good leadership and quality of friendship in this episode. Maybe it's she's trying to make up for the fact that she has no friends by being a good friend now. But no, Iris was good. Iris was
Nice.
good. Tell you who wasn't good?
Go on.
Dibney.
Well, no.
They need to move on from her boobs. And he's fun. He's intelligent.
Yep.
I would also like him to stop being a stretchy meathead.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Hopefully they're going to get over that. They're giving us a little bit of his backstory, but hopefully his future is different from that. And this was the most PG strip club I've ever seen.
Within the PG strip club, I thought Drunk Flash, totally lame. That
Yeah.
wasn't good. Didn't land for me.
It's really obvious. Yeah, it is what it is.
Fair.
Okay, moving on to Arrow. Deathstroke returns. We had more flashbacks this week, so we've now got Deathstroke's flashbacks. And maybe this is the way they're going to do flashbacks in future, just guest of the week, whoever is leading the story, because we also had a couple from Black Canary, from Dinah. An okay story. Nothing, I don't want to say nothing happened, but I don't feel like there was an Act 3 to it.
Yeah, I know, I'd agree. It was fine.
Yeah. It got to the resolution about Deathstroke and his son, and I feel like there was then going to be, and there's another sequence to come in that story.
Yeah.
It got to the thing with Dinah and her ex-partner.
Yeah.
But there is still another sequence to come there where we find out more about him, or he becomes part of the team, or they take him down, or he's this season's villain, or something. And we had the FBI lady starting to subpoena people, but nothing from that. And we had the referendum, but also nothing from that. Yeah,
just kind of pootling on the road, but no one's reached a destination yet.
Yeah, spinning wheels.
But
go on.
The things we're really trying to focus on, Oliver.
Yeah.
I thought Oliver had another good week.
Yes.
I'm liking Oliver being grown up and responsible.
Yep.
I don't know whether that might start to become boring in a little while. I feel that he must... Presumably there's going to hit a stumbling block for him. Unless the conflict and drama is going to be all around other characters in the series.
I'm enjoying it for the change of him talking about how he was growing up and being self-aware enough to reference it and to understand he's trying for something different now. I think I'm still enjoying it, but they're still working out where he fits in this plot, I think.
Yeah, and I'm enjoying that his son is showing himself to be sensitive but not whiny now. Yeah. I don't like whiny kids, so it's good.
The phone call between them, their one real moment, was very well done. It felt natural from both sides.
Yeah.
I feel like we've perhaps missed a step where we've seen a bit more bonding in their relationship, but no, it's nice. I can accept that this is where we are, and his son wasn't in peril again. So that's good. I don't want every week for that to be the thing, so... Yeah. When he phoned, there was a hint that it was going to be, Deathstroke's turned up and is threatening me, so... But it wasn't, so that's good.
That's good.
Okay. Legends of Tomorrow. Started off with a sort of Sherlock interview with a vampire Dracula vibe riff going on. And again, I don't really feel like we got to a resolution. They reintroduced Damien Dark, who may or may not be Mollis.
Damien Dark.
Yeah. Yeah. And I quite often enjoyed the way he was portrayed, but we've done him a lot now. This is now his third season as a villain, potentially.
I suppose also for me, it was the Damien Dark series in Arrow, where I was just like, I'm over this now, and told you to finish watching the series on your own. Yeah. So perhaps my Damien Dark experience thus far has not been that positive. Yeah.
The introduction of magic into Arrow is not good. Because Arrow is supposed to be human. And it's supposed to be a very natural city, whereas all the other shows have things about metahumans, powered people with totems. Legends is a better fit for Dark.
Yeah. And I did like the slight lightening of Dark's character.
Mm.
And the way he interacted with the world when he was in like the Legion of Doom or whatever they were called, in Legends.
Mm.
So maybe it's not all doom and gloom, but as soon as I saw his face, I'm like, oh come on, can we not give someone new a crack? Do we have to bring him back again?
Yeah,
bored.
Absolutely. Some interesting developments with Rip. That's at least the interesting bit of the episode. He's now not part of the Time Bureau. And potentially teaming up with the AE Legends again. So
yeah, I like that. That's good.
That good if they continue to make him a good character, and hopefully, because he's now years ahead of the rest of them, he now has more capability and knowledge and skills.
Yep.
So we'll wait and see on that. Couple of crossovers: the reference to Oliver Queen's fingerprint, and then Curtis helping them on video FaceTime.
Yes.
Yeah, great. They have someone who can help and who can give them information. So, yeah, get in touch with him.
Yeah,
awesome.
I like that. And I think, in general, it was a very fun and watchable episode. You're right, the story didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
And, Damien Dark. But I'm finding it a lot more watchable than I was at the start. Even Nate, while still a meathead, was starting to show signs of intelligence again. Yeah. I found Mick's character this week quite funny.
Yeah. Yes, this is what I want them to do with Mick. He is a bit meat-headed, but he's the one who wants to go out and do a bit of destruction. So doing a bit of destruction in the cause of good by taking down vampires, awesome.
Yeah. Exactly.
So Zari was good.
Yes, I like her.
I quite like the development of her a bit more. I liked the moment that she claims the totem and it comes to her and she can now use it better.
Yes.
That's the sort of thing you don't always get in this sort of story, in comic book stories, but very much you get it in other fantasy stories of the claiming the artifact for yourself. So that's nice. It works with a totem like the necklace.
Totally agree. You've got to accept yourself before you can use your natural skills to their best ability. So, no, I like that a lot.
Good. And then on to Supergirl, which a lot happened in Supergirl this week. We did have 2 proper arcs going on. Yep. So again, we had a very clear plot A, plot B. The Lena Luthor being set up by Damage and the issue with the children.
Yes.
And Alex and Maggie breaking up in the apartment. No, not breaking up. We've seen the breakup. We've missed the breakup. We are now seeing them splitting up.
Yes.
The splitting of things and Maggie moving out.
Executing the decision.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that. I don't need to go through the steps of the argument, the decisions. Neither of them can move, so this is where we are. Fine. Going back to the Lena and Damage plot. Is his name Damage? It's not, is it? The episode was called Damage.
What is his name? I don't know. Businessman dude. Evil businessman dude.
Adrian Pasdar. I like him. I like him playing that part. He's got that sort of chewing the scenery bad guy thing that I quite enjoy because he is a man with power and he's using it.
And he is properly, I have no scruples, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill lots of kids just to get what I want.
Yeah. Using children for his cause, like you say, properly evil.
Yeah.
But it's a little reminiscent of Man of Steel going into Batman vs Superman. The way he's using them of, yes, they saved us, but see all this damage that came from it, actually we shouldn't trust them. This is what Luthor and Wayne do in Batman Superman.
It is. It's just that he doesn't actually believe that. He is manipulating, and this again is about media manipulation. He is both creating the story and manipulating the story and driving the story for an ultimate nefarious aim of his own. And I quite like it. I quite like that sort of. It's interesting, he's evil. And he's evil on multiple levels. Yeah. And he understands how the media works and public opinion works. I find him quite an interesting bad guy, but also one that I will feel no sadness about watching them take him out.
No.
Presumably by the end of the episode.
Presumably?
The series.
Yeah. I liked his line to her about, you left me on top of cargo containers, so it cost me some dry cleaning and some time. Like, yes, you can do these petty things, but it is petty. Come on. Yeah, really nice. I wondered, so there's a moment of gun violence in the middle. with when Lena's giving the speech and the mother shoots at them and ends up shooting Jimmy Olsen.
Yes.
And as it turns out, Sam.
Yes.
I wondered if the writers would have debated including that or finding a different way to do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting. There seemed to be a strange acceptance that this woman would just have a gun.
Yeah.
But which I think, coming from the UK, where, in my mind, police, farmers, and bad people have guns.
Yeah.
That's just where it lies in the UK, because that's what the UK is. But yeah, no, that seemed interesting to me, and I wonder if that is representative of the showmakers' awareness that there are two very different views on gun ownership in the States, and they weren't necessarily interested in making their platform.
Yes, yeah, they didn't comment on it in that way. They didn't talk about concealed carry laws and so on and so forth, but just interesting given the events of the last couple of months, which is probably when this episode might have been written.
Yeah.
Would they, or at least produced, would they have considered what they were doing? Who knows?
I thought Jimmy was very over-forgiving of that. He was just like, yeah, she was cross, and like, she shot me.
Yeah.
I was just like, dude, she shot you.
But again, we have a very definite view on these things.
Yeah.
Coming from the UK.
Yeah.
Just one other reference in that moment, the guy putting the phone in his pocket. Was that to show us he didn't have a gun? Or is there something else going on with him? Because it was interesting that he had burst into the office before. So I just feel like something more might come from that moment.
Yeah, because that never got resolved, did it? It was just like a man putting a phone in his pocket. But, yeah.
And the fact that they used CG to show it with her X-ray vision, it was a very clear moment they wanted to include.
Yes.
So, who knows?
Yes.
The other thing I want to talk about was the parallels between Sam and Kara this week.
Yes, I've got that as well.
Yeah.
Curiouser and curiouser.
Yes, they both talked about being adopted. They both talked about their dreams being unsettling at the moment. So we are working towards there is a connection between these two women, but we're not ready to get there yet.
Yeah, I will be disappointed if it's as simple as, hey, there was another pod from Krypton. But also, I would be surprised if there was, because I don't think Sam is as aware of herself as Clara and Kal-El clearly have been ever since landing on Earth in their pods. So I think there is something else there. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear and see what it is.
Yeah, the fact that the pod seems to be mostly buried, which implies she couldn't have gotten out of it. So, yeah, there will be some interesting development there, I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Right, so Maggie and Alex. I thought it was very well done. I thought it was very believable. But it really does look like Maggie has gone.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I will be happy if that's the end. I think that was a really nice arc with them as a couple. I think it addressed some challenging things. I think it dealt with the emotional issues pretty well.
Yeah.
And it's an unusual character. It's an unusual couple journey to watch in a series like this. So
not splitting up through peril, splitting up through actual personal reasons.
Yes. Like real life stuff.
It reminds me a bit of Flash. I can't remember her name. Penny, maybe? Do you remember Flash in season 2 or 3 went out with a police lady, which we loved her and wanted more to come of her.
Yes.
It feels a bit like that story as well.
And she went away for her career, didn't she?
She was becoming a proper
detective or
whatever. Something, yes. Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
So I have a question for you on the breakup.
Yeah.
Is Maggie and Alex splitting up good for the show?
Yes. Because I don't think there's anything more we could do with Alex.
Okay.
Not Alex, Maggie.
Okay.
And sad though it is to say this, watching a happy couple just like being happy.
Yeah.
It's probably not all that interesting for the show's story. So I think this allows us to let Alex do something else and then see where life takes her in the future.
Okay. Yes.
Right. I am not devastated by it.
Okay. It's a little bit like I've talked with Star Trek Discovery. We're still in the journey and the plot. If Maggie does go on to do interesting things, if her career develops, if something happens, then good. But if this is just because we don't necessarily want that character and we're going to introduce another character and put them in a relationship and get them married, I'll be a bit disappointed.
Yes.
Because that just means they weren't happy with the way they wrote Maggie.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree.
She's off to Mandyville to join the women of the West Wing.
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Point.
One other point that I had wrote down here,
Okay.
and harking back to your comments about Legends of Tomorrow and accepting yourself and the fantasy world, I feel like across all of these series we have developed a new version of magic.
Okay.
The magic of computer skills.
Yes.
I just like it really, really, it's been amusing me all season because it happens so often. And it's like, hey, I have computer skills. Tippity-tap-tap-tap-tap. Results. And I'm like, seriously, everybody uses computers now. We all know that you just don't go tippity-tap-tap-tap-tap. Let me now access the bank records of all the parents of these sick children.
Right.
Morally dubious, right?
And she's CFO?
I know, I'm like, seriously. But equally, yeah, and I think it's not just these series, but yeah, I think there's a lot of TV shows that basically computer skills equals magic.
Yeah. To the extent you had Oliver last week taking on the Overwatch role.
Yeah.
And saying, oh, you've automated it, but I can still use it and come up with stuff on the fly.
Yeah.
Like, that is the opposite of what they're setting up Oliver to be. Oliver is capable of hitting people, firing arrows, and being a good leader.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Completely agree. And we do now have several people across all the series who do this stuff. Which is so they can call on anyone at any time to do it. In fact, possibly Legends is the only one that doesn't.
But they've got like a magic AI ship.
That's very true.
That doesn't even need to know tippity tippity tap tap tap.
Yeah.
She can just like make snarky comments and just know everything.
Yeah. So they really are leaning into that, which is fair because technology rules the world. So yeah. Okay, Catherine, who had a good week this week?
I think Lena had a good week.
Mm.
I mean, I know she had a challenging week. But I thought I really liked the way they wrote her character and her character's reaction to all of these challenges. She took it on the chin. She took it seriously. She gave it a measured response. She clearly took it to heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought she had a very nice week.
Yeah.
More and more Lena is one of my favourites.
Okay. And there was a hint of her and Jimmy Olsen at the end, possibly forming a bit of a closer than buddies relationship there.
Yeah, maybe.
A little winky nod stuff going on.
Maybe. I think she can do better.
I think she can do better. That is also very dull.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I think Jimmy is just a bit dull. I'm not really into the Jimmy character.
Yeah. He was dull even when he was becoming Guardian.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Best episode of the week?
A qualified Flash.
Okay.
Supergirl's close to it, I think.
Yeah.
They were neck and neck this week, but still Flash for the fun factor.
Yeah, I think Supergirl had a very solid week doing a good story. And certainly compared to the rest of them, it had proper movements and stuff going on. But the Flash did just have a bit more fun and accessibility.
Yes.
So.
And shiny gold pants.
Yes. Terrific. So that wraps us up for another week. If you have thoughts, questions or comments, you can use the hashtag ATAV on Twitter or find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter as Eloquent Gushing. If you want to help support us, please check out our Patreon page where you can get access to exclusive content across all our shows. Go to patreon.com/eloquentgushing and visit our homepage eloquentgushing.com to sign up for the weekly newsletter and view our other shows. We got to see Justice League this week, so check out our YouTube channel as well, where I've done a video comparing the trailers of Justice League to the final product to see what went missing when Joss Whedon took over. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you across the Arrowverse.
Across the Arrowverse is an Eloquent Gushing production. For more shows you'll love, please visit eloquentgushing.com.